Game 5 has never gone their way, and as we get ourselves in a champ select, you see that name Spirit is back in for Mowgli.
And we'll see how much of an impact that makes, because yes, Spirit got one game to reset his mental after losing game number 1. He also got to watch that pathing, but it feels like consistently Cloud9 are finding these strong skirmishing advantages, and they probably need his experience to cope with Svenskeren, who was legendary on the Graves in game number 2.
It seems like Svenskeren cannot be stopped. Cloud9 in that last game were so heavily behind in the solo lanes, yet able to fight their way back through a movement on top lane and a lot of good counter plays. We'll see though, because already Afreeca Freecs going with the same bans that we've seen. There's the adjustment, Alistar off the table.
Okay, that is potentially an important change with Alistar gone. It means Nocturne is first picked, and now the Aatrox can go over to Keen.
But I really like this adaptation. You might think, okay, Nocturne has proved to be so strong. If they pick a Kai'Sa, maybe he'll just kill him. All those things are true, and level 6 Nocturne should be an imposing figure. But these games are being decided by repeated pressure. This is not a game played around global ult cooldowns. It's the pressure Graves can repeatedly apply, whereas ult, while relevant, is not going to be as gated by cooldown. So this is going to mean more windows for Spirit to attack, rather than just Svenskeren running the pace of a game.
Cloud9 has been instrumental in the success of so many teams here at Worlds. The ultimate paranoia, taking away vision from the enemy team, is the strongest buff that was added to this champion. 6 seconds of disorganized enemies not being able to coordinate their abilities means so much. And Cloud9, with a tried and true combination, the innovators in North American LCS that first used this combination with Shen to shore up some of the weaknesses of Nocturne.
And it's a lot of dive for C9. They're going tried and true, but we talked about adapt or die being so important here at Worlds. This is the 3rd Thresh game of the entire summer split, counting Worlds for Tucson, saying, I need a champion that can pull my back line to safety when the Nocturne, Shen, and Lissandra start diving me. We know that Shen is a flex pick, the Lissandra the same, so C9 still open-ended in their composition.
And this dive, though, that they've already got the cornerstone of, is the prototype of C9, the C9 that Afreeca would have evaluated most often before Worlds, and even if you incorporate the group stage. Afreeca see what has been levied against them, and now we will see some globals. Bold to go Galio into Nocturne, because we've already seen that more often than not, that has been a trap, and the Nocturne ultimate has been able to negate. But if you play make early, as KT were able to do earlier in the tournament, if you're proactive, you find the lead, and in a Worlds defined by proactivity, Afreeca will have to turn on and flip that switch.
Yeah, Afreeca gonna put that timing to the test. You need to either take the priority, Galio ult instantly before Nocturne ult comes up, or you will be very far behind in the team fight. Here we go though, top lane bans still coming through. The Aatrox will not see a 3rd game.
And this looks like a Kai'Sa game for Cloud9. Lots of backline hard crowd control. Sneaky would pick the champion if available, but Afreeca get dibs first. And they've not banned Lucian. So if Kai'Sa comes through for Kramer, I think you expect to see Lucian, Shen bottom lane, a lot of heavy bullying, and that same bot lane pressure we were seeing all series long. But no, it's C9 banning it away, which surprises me.
I like the ban though, because so much hard crowd control and no damage with the first 3 drafts that Kai'Sa does round out the draft, yes, at the cost of bot lane priority. That was really the core tenet of the Game 1 victory, but Game 2 was a lot more even around bot side until Svenskeren got involved. Afreeca actually rolling back what worked in the regular season when they moved away from majors. They played a lot of Aris, and Kramer will jump onto that pick.
Yeah, Kramer definitely on a comfortable pick, but it feels like Sneaky could go right back to the Lucian. Definitely been so successful for Cloud9. He'll have a more difficult time, you know, in lane. Very good at landing harassment with the arrows, but Lucian also is very quick, and we'll see if he can get the dodges off.
And it's C9 just looking at backline access. You're right, the Lucian still is going to be picked 3 times in a row. But oh, wait, hold on. I still think Orin is most likely there for Licorice, though. Another hard engaged tank seems very common here in the lineup.
Very interested to see if a top laner like Orin is taken, because I think that Darius would be the big pick for Keen. In that way, would once again be attacking lane. We've seen no Darius so far, but a big pick for him in the regular season, and a good matchup into Orin.
Something about Licorice here. No hesitation, by the way. keen with the lock-in.
Bit safer.
They're definitely going to be able to scale up. Once you get some more money onto Gangplank, which is easy due to the extra gold generation, your armor penetration through your barrels really comes into play, and they'll have a lot of damage. Plus, having a Galio on your team means that there are other options for engaging, and you don't need the top laner to be the main.
But gentlemen, you look at the Afreeca comp and say, man, this was good in spring season. Man, this was good in parts of summer season. Ultra standard LCK draft. But the LCK have largely felt outdated in a more impact-orientated meta with so much action, whereas Cloud9, with so much initiation and also the ability to turn out the lights, are adapting to the new.
Yep, Cloud9 sporting the new hotness here with a lot of play-making ability, especially towards the early game. Now the Braum, the Ornn, which brings it all together, we should talk about Licorice's play on tanks. You alluded to it very early in the series, Freak, of the origins of this player and his 1v1 abilities, but his tank play has also been one of the biggest strengths of Cloud9, both the Ornn starting off team fights as well as the Poppy denying enemies. And he has certainly become one of the most well-rounded players on the whole team.
If they win 3-0, he would have given over counterpick to a lane-focused champion 3 times, and Cloud9 would still have come away with the victory, which already gives you so much more confidence looking forward to a tough semifinal.
And so Cloud9 do have comfort for themselves. You talk about Afreeca's comp maybe being slightly outdated, but they still have the options to react well. If the lights come back on and the Galio ult comes down, that can look good. Gangplank can answer as well, and we are in for game 3.
If we use the word tempo positively about Afreeca Freecs in this game a lot, that will represent a victory, but with Cloud9 having so many game-changing ultimates, doesn't feel like that's been the story of 2018 Worlds.
And we mentioned the stronger counter of Nocturne into Galio, being able to deny the ultimate. However, Nocturne also pretty good soft counter to making Gangplank's job more difficult in landing barrel chains. If you can't see that far into the darkness at the enemies, makes it very difficult to put those together.
Guys, I'm not seeing very far through the darkness either at the moment, but I'm going to try and keep it together for this game number 3.
We are, approaching a very historic moment here where the last hope for Korea, the last seed, possibly eliminated before semifinals even arrives.
Korea's worst finish ever at a World Championship is semifinals with Azuba Frost back in Season 2, so 2012 we're talking about there. Afreeca Freecs, they've got some lane priority in the bot side. Shen not known for his duo laning ability unless there's melee champions going on there, so it should be pretty happy times for Kramer and Tucson in what has been, so far, a trying series for them.
And you expect Spirit to have more early game pressure than Svenskeren here. Nocturne pretty famously a farm to 6 jungler. Gragas, we saw in Spirit's game 1, gets plenty of ganks off early game.
And while Nocturne definitely wants to get to level 6 as quickly as possible, you definitely have to be careful about underestimating the ability of the champion in early dueling as well. The fear tether as well as the attack speed you can get from blocking a spell do have significant threat. Should be played around and is something to keep in mind.
Something I'm hoping for is that Tucson's threat this game, away from the Alistair, is going to be a step up. In his last game, we counted 3-4 missed headbutt pulverizers. He's actually getting taunted at level 1.
A lot of damage at the very beginning there. Tucson actually very late on the flay, does not trigger Aftershock until after the whole trade happened.
Oof, taunted and spanked right there. The press the attack does pop, large hell trade. On the back end, Kramer, significant damage dealt to Zeyzal as well though, so both of these supports start drinking their health potions early and Svenskeren walks over a ward.
So they know he's on the bottom side. We'll walk by another one. They know he's going to go for the scuttle down here, and we'll see how much of the jungle Spirit takes away if we have that blue buff trade we had earlier on in the series, or if he does walk topside and looks for this half-health Ornn.
Yeah, he knows there's no possibility of a counter gank with a Nocturne on the bottom side. It's one of the scary things about Gragas. Your initiation, especially in the early game, is so explosive. Body slam flash is something solo laners complain about so frequently. However, if a Nocturne is there, can deal a lot of damage, especially with them having this year started the trend of taking lethal tempo, huge attack speed on top of your Dustbringer. So Spirit, you can see why he doesn't want to go too aggressive this early. Now they've got full vision of Svenskeren though. This is a great setup for Afreeca Freecs and Spirit.
Let's see who can roam down, because Spirit knows where he is, but that ward will not spot into the brush. That barrel will, though, misses the body slam, gets the smite though, and Spirit has a blue, but now the fear is there, and Svenskeren wants to chase. And how about the roams down? Ornn's coming over, and Lysandre has first dibs as well. Spirit may have just killed himself, sitting by the wall. He's close to getting Sven low, but the solo kill may come through. Will they hand the buffs off? What a spell shield! First blood for Sven Skaren.
Told you not to underestimate the lethal tempo auto attack damage coming out of Nocturne early, and Sven Skaren just wails on him after that blue buff is stolen.
It's a PSA to all the junglers out there, never leave home without priority. If you invade without priority, the Ornn comes first, Lissandra comes to bot lane.
And with Ignite on, this is a big trade on a TuSyn. Now sneaks out a flash away, he cleanses out, nice! Flash forward by Kramer, finds himself the kill, and now Zeyzal has to run, has to flash out as well. 4 summoners missing for C9.
And a light at the end of the tunnel here for Afreeca Freecs. As soon as it starts to go bad and Spirit dies, immediate answer here from Kramer on the bottom side. TuSyn gets his Ignite off, flashes out, doesn't die, and they find the kill onto Sneaky in the 2-on-2.
And will they finally, with this Varus Thresh lane, have some control around that duo lane that so far has been a black mark for Afreeca Freecs in a series that so far has gone very far away from them. They need pressure points and they can't rely on their jungler, who's a bit tail between his legs after giving up first blood.
And that pressure point could easily be there in the bottom lane. Now temporarily 6 CS up, and Afreeca Freecs up 700 gold. A taunt to the mid lane, but Kuro has no mana to keep trading with, so out he goes as Jensen tries to force him into a bad recall.
I will also mention, as we take a look at this replay, we'll go through this one first and see how it all started. Hook there from TuSyn onto Zeyzal, but then he decides to take the fight into the Aftershock already proc with Ignite down. Kramer, no hesitation, flashes forward, finds home with the arrow, strikes true, and finds the first blood.
Really smart by Kramer. When they engage on your tank support, hit the enemy marksman. He will die faster, and with that choice, blew through all of C9 summoners, including the cleanse for Sneaky, and got that kill picked up.
I will say that for the top side, even though Spirit did die, Sven Skaren didn't immediately get to go path up to try and keep this gangplank honest. So Keen has been farming away with his Klepto, pushing the Ornn close to the turret. And he is farming up. That is definitely going to be a quick level 6 here coming in from these top laners. Both of those level 6s are going to be very big for possibly be creating plays on the map elsewhere.
And Keen was probably our best gangplank over in Korea. Still played this when it was out of meta for most. Usually you see the defense tree, but because it's against an Ornn, he's feeling strong enough to just take Kleptomancy in the lane, open up a gold advantage, and now the ultimate is available. And Sven Skaren still level 5 and only just pinging that level 5.
Spirit walks down to the bottom side. Sven Skaren's nearby. 5 for both of these junglers. There's Predator. They know Spirit is here. This could be a regank, though. In the 3-on-3, what is the fight going to go? Nice bit of CC on the Sven Skaren. The ult in for Gangplank as well. Has to flash the wall and turn the lights out. Nearly landing that Q was Kramer.
Yep, that's the cross-map ultimates from top laners we are looking for. Immediately used. Jensen actually, they did aggro the dragon. He jumps right back out with the claw, though.
Notice that both the teleports have been popped. Of course, Keen went back to lane to get his Sheen. Licorice just teleported back now as well to refill his health and mana bar. So Licorice will not join the bottom lane to join any fights again, but Keen will have the ult up again in just a couple of minutes.
Honestly, keep your eyes on that bottom lane. The supports are low health early on in the game. They both blew their flashes, and Nocturne approaching the level 6. Spirit has already got his eyes down there, though, and he's coming through a lane gank. Control ward down. They know that C9 cannot account for his placement yet.
C9 must play safely. They don't have good ways out. Cleanse up soon for Sneaky. That might be a saving grace into a hook. Looking for this one is TuSyn.
Galio ultimate is also available for Afreeca Freecs if they want to commit very hard. You can see a movement from Kuro from the mid lane, but here comes Sven Skaren.
Sven 6 lights are out, taunt on a Thresh, pops right away. A 3v2 in the fight as they go for the Sun and a Zeyzal, and he will get traded. Now it's time for Kramer to take attacks, and he's going to be burning low, and Gragas is about to be in range for the ulti, so if they chase too hard on Spirit, Galio can turn it. A 1-for-1 either way as both supports have dropped.
The level 6 there is so key for the side of C9, able to get that advantage where Spirit, a bit of a passenger. Mid laners don't join, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, both teams with the exact same idea. They did keep their eyes on the supports. Flashes not available, and they both go down. Gold traded fairly evenly.
I think Afreeca was surprised that Nocturne was level 6 when their jungler, who had mainline camps, was still at level 5, and that seemed to be the initial surprise. Especially supports, like you mentioned earlier, do go down. And now the reset happens with the map state pretty even, all things considered.
And speaking of map state, the kills are on Kramer. Afreeca, their biggest weak point was arguably the bottom lane, as they could not handle the Lucian lane. This time around, both kills and a farm lead. This Varus could be the one to take the game to the late.
Kramer was also the one who stepped up in a huge way for Afreeca Freecs in their change from week 1 of groups to going 3-0 on the second week of groups.
And also he stepped up for the team in the playoff gauntlet because he wasn't playing in the regular season. Aiming was preferred for the vast majority of the season. Ironically, when we actually got to the finals gauntlet on the way to that overall grand final that Afreeca dropped out in the semifinal, when Kramer entered the team in that gauntlet, he had never played 2v2 as an AD carry in summer. He'd only been playing Gangplank and other mages in the bot lane. He hadn't been playing the new assignment of the 2v2 marksman, and he's been able to step up in a big way. He's going to be relied on in this game until Keen is ready to go.
Interesting here, this wave clear from Keen. I think he was expecting the Nocturne follow through, and double level 6 and 4 sec can be scary against him. So farming the ult to get rid of the minion wave and not be dove there. Keen's going to stay safe, but now that ulti is down and relieves some pressure on that C9 duo bot.
That's one of the small things that sometimes will go unnoticed, but I think is incredibly important. Just these players cautioning against the possibility of big plays like that. You mentioned it's a almost triple stacked wave there worth of minions. If as a top laner you get dove and lose out on that much experience, it is catastrophic. So he plays it safe, uses, yes, his global ultimate to clear it, and that is a cost, but I think does cover a worthy possible negative outcome.
Ooh, there's going to be an outcome now in this jungle, as that was a potential 2-on-2. Spirit waiting around. They know he's there. They saw his barrel. The Svenskeren sitting on a ward now knows he was spotted. C9 sitting in the river. They had temporarily bot lane pressure. They got to do this again, though. Otherwise, Afreeca can answer first. Hook's not quite going to land there. And it's again pressure for the bot lane and then pressure for the blue buff as the mid laners trade blows back and forth. Right now it's Afreeca backing up. Nice little bit of hit there, and the Thresh is on the way to make sure Gragas can stay safe. And we continue to watch as the wave is pushed in and C9 rejoins. Back and forth they go, and now Kramer will sacrifice farm under the turret to play for a blue buff. And this is now in the brush, and this will go cleanly over, and Afreeca will indeed get their blue without much issue.
We need to watch lane spacing and bot pretty extensively. Is Keen going to sidestep the stun?
But he's slowed, and there's going to be a lot of damage on him, down to 700, 800 HP. Licorice with an ult from Svenskeren actually might have enough damage to kill off Keen.
Do you have to be a little bit more cautious when you're playing Gangplank with Klepto rather than Grass? Bottom lane!
Big ult, they're going to find the root now. Also on a sneaky as well. Big damage, and Azazel's going to stay alive. Flashing just in time. And the flash maybe a little bit late, but now the answer on the backside, the flash, the heal to stay alive, just barely. He's gonna stay up in this one, but now the Shen keeping a teammate in, but that hook was beautiful! And he's answering for his sins in the first 2 games. TuSin finds 2 more kills for the squad. Another play, sneaky. He's gotta be careful, 1v3, cannot quite find the answer. Flashing away, oh, this should be enough. Watch out for the lantern, and now the top side, the fights just keep on happening. Sneaky cannot join this just yet. The slow into Kramer, the Q's gonna find one in the top lane. They've got damage in the Akeem, but he's staying alive. 2 for 1 in the bottom lane, and Afreeca comes out ahead.
Oh, what a heal bait from Kramer! It baits Svenskeren to take the Paranoid in on Nocturne, and Afreeca actually come out with more kills, but Sneaky fights his way 1v3 back to get 1 kill for Cloud9.
It was so close to a triple kill 1v3 for the Lucian, unable to mana bar and just in general the kite back stop it, but that could have been a bonanza for Sneaky.
Big plays from both of those marksmen. Let's take another look at this one. All right, the initiation starts out with the supports, again, as primary target. Nice ultimate there from Kramer to start it off. They follow it up. Zazel expects the flax to come through, so he does a good job avoiding it. But then Svenskeren almost one-shots Kramer. Not close enough, though, and Kramer can still add damage. Right there, the Zhonya's allows Svenskeren to get picked up, and now it is Sneaky 1v3.
And if he's full mana here, maybe he can actually kite forward, level 9, and got this sort of cooldown. Lovely flash away from Spirit. He has to use the stasis. They do get him out, but Sneaky knows he can continue to go forward because TuSin and Spirit are completely out of this fight.
What a dash right there, too. I believe he was able to get across that territory before the hail of arrows lands. No slow applied to find that answer kill and take down Kramer. I believe that was after all the kills for Kramer had come through, so it was also a shutdown.
Yep.
And he gets the bonus gold in his efforts in the 1v3.
Several extra gold picked up there, a couple hundred for that. And we now look back at a very equal game state. 2,100 gold apiece, but the Ocean Drake gives Afreeca better laning and better answers at the end of a team fight if they need to roam around. Sneaky finding some more poke, but Spirit is right there and playing up on the edge, the precipice of death if Gragas goes in for the play. He does have the ultimate.
Spirit is sacking camps to make this play. You see the question mark ping. They should be suspecting this because Raptors is not being cleared by the Gragas in quite a while.
This is one of the hardest camps I have seen put up at Worlds.
I think that actually lets him know.
Yeah,
It ended early.
Spirit's tent catching fire, gonna have to leave. During that whole time, Svenskeren was farming topside. Here we go, another Licorice move.
They're gonna find a bit of damage into Keen. Still pops heal. Knockman's gonna go in for as well. The lights are out, and the stopwatch buys a few seconds, but is it gonna buy enough? As Licorice has to get away from the turret. He's close to dying. He's gotta watch out for this one. A barrel drain from Keen. He gets the kill in the 1v2.
It's so important they salvaged that play. Great map read by Cloud9, but the stasis into turn was too big by the GP.
Individual outplays, these players on the world stage coming up huge. Sneaky finds a kill in the 1v3. King strikes back 1v2. King's Licorice.
Really beautiful stuff right now. 800 gold lead for Afreeca. A bit of a respite though, the blue handed off to Jensen. He has not gotten around the map just yet. You talk about mid lane matchups, how volatile they've been. Jensen smashed game 1, Kuro smashed game 2. This one a bit more equal. It's been about the side lanes as now they TP in and look for Keen one more time. He does have the flash though. He could get away. That's gonna be a spell shield. Now to answer back. The auto's not gonna be much. He's feared. The flash over the wall. A nice escape by Keen.
That is the Keen we know and love. He needs to be big here, but the bot lane is backing him up in this game. I love the passage of play we saw topside because they read that the Gragas could be bot. The Gragas is back bot, but this time, he only wants the turret.
Yeah, it's amazing that Keen is dealing with this pressure. He's absorbing the Cloud9 jungler's time. Meanwhile, Spirit being bottom, they don't get a kill on the C9 duo, but they almost take the turret.
Getting very low, and that's going to be another 800 gold that would go into Afreeca on top of the 700 they already have, and certainly this one will fall as Spirit is still within earshot. And they're going to give this gold all over to Kramer. 3-1, 600 gold more in his favor. Svenskeren can only try to answer the Herald somewhere else.
And these passages of plays are why Keen was rated so high in the top 20. He's putting in a carry level performance with no backup. His jungler has only been bottom side almost the entire game. And to be able to do that while absorbing a camp is the sort of trademark for this guy who lit up the LCK in 2018.
Potentially even the reason Afreeca are even here. A 5th place finisher, 4 splits in a row. They switched out the lineup before the last year, still ended up in 5th place, and then Keen comes in, replaces Marin of all players, and suddenly a silver medal in their very first split with this player on the lineup. And now looking at a reverse sweep to keep all of Korea's hopes alive. The host nation are about to potentially, for the first time at Worlds, lose all their teams in the top 8.
And Sneaky here on the Lucian, 3 games in a row. You can tell that Afreeca Freecs identified this as one of the biggest problems. And with that, they have had Spirit constantly down to the bottom side.
If you have a nickname or a title you don't like, maybe you just take it on. And Sneaky in lane is becoming a positive meme in this particular game. He's dominated to the point where they've required an extensive jungle camp, and he still exits the lane with a CS advantage.
Even 2 kills to his credit as well, so really kudos to him for stepping up. The longest standing member of C9. An almost unbroken streak of starts at the beginning of Summer Split. He was out for a few weeks, and they decided they needed him back in, and he's once again bringing Cloud9. This is his 5th quarterfinal at Worlds, but he has always fallen since back in 2013 when he first showed up on the world stage. Has never made it through the BO5. Now 2-0 up, this is probably their closest chance at doing so. But of course, still a lot up in the air. Afreeca Freecs up, still 1,700 gold in this game. And it's non-trivial at this point in the game. There's finally a turret answered as C9 knocked down top lane outer. And we're getting a little bit closer. That hook almost lands there. 4 in the top lane for Afreeca. They will not quite get that next Herald charge, and down it goes.
4-man defense here means the C9 can't outnumber and dive. Afreeca showing a lot of respect. All Afreeca's getting on the map is GP farm though, and C9 with the Nocturnal, with the Channel, can always look for a turn.
A lot of fights over the wards in this Tribe Rush going down. Nobody leaving yet, so it's still 6 members on the top side. And you can see on your mini-map, all 5 now of Afreeca Freecs heading up there. 2 global ultimates at their disposal. This might be it.
That's going to go wide. Those A's are walking just the max distance away. Sneaky backing up. They're going to look maybe at mid instead, but with reinforcement coming down, that's a nice route for Jensen. Gets away from the chance for Kuro to go in.
Both these mid laners taking aftershocks, so in short skirmishes, they do very little damage to each other. That one was about facilitating a gank, but not going to happen. On the side of Afreeca Freecs, they back away as Licorice puts together another item and just wants to force the GP to come to his lane.
Very little bit of farm will be dropped there, maybe 1 or 2 melee minions. The cannon will hold enough time that it's not an issue. Licorice wards to make sure he's not getting ganked just yet, as Gragas is coming down to this side of the map, but Keen gonna get most of this farm. That's pretty beautiful to watch. Trinity Force plus a barrel is always free money, and it's indeed plus 14 CS in the top lane.
Yeah, one thing that will not be free is this Infernal Drake. As Afreeca Freecs have said, everybody down to the bottom side, as have Cloud9. Trailing through the river now. They do have one ward here to see the midsection, but we could easily have ultimates going off in quick succession.
And Cloud9 are first to clear out the mid lane, so they do have a little bit of time of first dibs to get back down towards the river. Kuro, sacrifice farm. Here comes Yosa going for the dive right away. Who's going to go down first? Giant knockouts, and it is Keen. A lot of the gold is gone already, and Svenskeren stays alive as a 2-for-0 comes through. C9 win that fight, and Kuro only gets a taunt on a tank. That's not going to mean much. Kramer, what can he do for the squad as his tanks are falling? His teammates are dropping. They're forced to run away. It's a clean take on the Drake, and C9 go back to mid as well.
Licorice gets hooked in though, here we go!
He's got to be careful. What a fly out of Tucson! And Kuro fighting against Sneaky as well. Battles back and forth. Jensen goes down, a kill on the backside of the fight. And will there be more? Will there be a snipe for Kramer as Sneaky runs, has to flash away from the hook?
Flash hook for flash hook, it ends up being the trade. Kramer was zoned out of damage almost the entire fight. With Keen going down, it was so hard for Afreeca to win.
Kramer is king of the hill right now. He's the highest health member left after that team fight, and Afreeca Freecs starting up this dragon. Controller goes down, and the map goes dark.
Licorice gonna stay on the map. No ult for over a minute or about a minute here. Svenskeren winning around. Similar cooldown for him. Now 3 there. The rest of the teams are collapsing. Keen cannot join right away, but he might try. And then once again, we look for the smites. They're up on both sides. Here comes TPs. Hook's not going to land. Here comes the rest of the squad. This will be another 5-on-5 as they're all going to rejoin. And the Dragon resets, but Sneaky is low. They've got to respect this. That snipe for Kramer. It's his 5th kill of the game. And Tucson's on the hunt. The battle for the Drake. Svenskeren gets it, but loses his life as more kills come through. 3-for-0 to Afreeca with Baron alive.
And they can run straight to it, Freak. 20.5 minutes into this game, Afreeca Freecs have the Ocean Drake regenerating their health bars, and they're starting it up.
As a group 5, they have very good Baron damage and very good Baron turn. This should definitely be theirs. Only Lissandra and now the Ornn could contest.
Teleport is being used. What are Cloud9 gonna do about it? Jensen can go in and self-ult to buy time, but it would be almost the last case.
They're gonna try, they're gonna dive into the pit, plenty of damage available, but will they even stop the Baron as the smite? Oh, he gets the kill on the juggler! Who's gonna get it? Oh! You gotta be kidding me! Licorice solo carrying this game! There's still 2 kills for Afreeca, but can you believe that Baron steal?
Your spring split North American LCS rookie of the split on Ornn comes in, takes the Baron and takes the jungler's life. What an incredible play!
And they're gonna find another on the back end. A shutdown for Svenskeren. They had so much hope, Afreeca, and it just got shattered.
This is the hopelessness that Afreeca has to deal with, that the LCK is getting used to. They're gonna keep pushing through the mid lane and blow open the gold lane.
Are you kidding me right now?
Absolutely unbelievable turn of events, but we have to settle down because there is so much more game to play. Afreeca need to not be tilted. This game is only 1,000 gold apart. This replay brought to you Ace of Predator.
But this is just a kill donation. There's no unsealed spellbook to smite away. They get a lot of damage onto Spirit, and look at how Licorice assassinates him in the back line. Oh. And when it comes to this play, all the cannonballs are coming in. Kramer turns onto Licorice. If you're watching, Licorice waits, he waits, and then at 16 HP,
he just punched
the Baron.
He punched the Baron. What can't Licorice do?
I don't have an answer for you, Freak.
This world has been full of incredible moments. Another one has just taken place, and now we are left with Cloud9 facing a victory in Game 3 with Baron buff. Afreeca Freecs, it is now or never.
This could be a historic moment in League of Legends eSports. Korea has not missed a semifinal ever. They have not missed a final ever in any Worlds they've been invited to. North America hasn't made it since 2011, the very first Worlds, in C9 with the gold lead, and Baron could be the first semifinalist team since the very first World Championship from North America.
It's all decisive, and it's been a decisive victory so far for C9, and hard to answer any of those facts with any counterpoints, Freak. C9 have been the better squad on the day. They've been clutch as well, but here we go. Jen's going to be rooted up.
Really big, and he's forced to self-ult. That's actually at least a cooldown missing, and that's going to be nothing for the Ornn. But look at the backline. Keen, he's running out of health, but he gets the oranges, and he gets support from Spirit. Mid lane tier 2 falls, but nothing else for C9 to grab. They will have to disengage. Afreeca just need to weather this storm and wait for their late game. They're already on 2 items for Kramer.
Siege is very short range from the side of C9, so they need something like the Ornn ultimate to zone away. That time it's not enough. They can back away. Baron buff power play, as you can see in the top right of your screen, is the better part of 5,000 gold.
Cloud9 need to reset after that fight. So many ultimates flown. With all of this gold they got from the Baron push, they will come back with completed items looking to get inside of the Afreeca Freecs base.
How does Afreeca Freecs leverage anything out of their biggest asset, which is still Kramer at this point in the game? The Nocturne, the Lissandra, they have one job, and that's to shut him down and zone him away from damage. Yes, if you have time, Rage Blade and Blade the Ruin King stacks up, but actually leveraging DPS, actually getting in relevant auto attacks when so many people can target towards you and shut you down is going to be nigh on impossible for Kramer, barring a full teamfight reset after something like the Ornn ultimate and the Nocturne ultimate.
I do think he has the tools. Gragas, Galio, these are great reset buttons to keep the dive from happening. You can see him going towards more armor. Ninja Tabby plus that Chain Vest. Senscare may not have the damage to kill him off. Kramer can still do the 1v5 team fighting. And Keen, similarly, so much gold on this gangplank. The damage is there. The team fights can be done for Afreeca.
One counterpoint I'll say is I can't remember a meaningful Galio ultimate in this game. Once again, it feels like one of those games where if you fall behind against Nocturne as a Galio comp, the Galio ult, more often than not, is available after a team fight.
So much of this game has been bottom lane and top lane. Constant fighting, creating plays for each other. And now we have the Baron buff timing out. So Afreeca Freecs, a small window to try and get some vision at least back for themselves to set up that possible counterplay, the possible comeback.
And if the comeback does happen, they've got a lot of standing turret gold left to grab. Only a single outer is gone, so 1,000 easily reached gold from top and mid outer turrets can be there if the tide does swing. If it ebbs and flows the other way, we'll wait to see. Still, 3,000 gold separates these squads. C9 are in the driver's seat. They do have the tools they need.
But it's hard to demonstrate how hard it is for either Keen or Kuro to hit a side lane and farm because you have to contend with Nocturne ult, the Lissandra teleport, Shen ult. Going for a 1-3-1, even farming side lanes is hard. That's why they're in an ARAM position, even though you'd usually consider Afreeca as a 1-3-1 team with this comp.
And here comes the Ornhorn. Could this be the signal of the end? A giant knock-up, a dive to the back line. Huge crowd control, but no one's dead yet. They finally get Spirit. A 1-for-0. Galio shows back up. Licorice gets a shield. So far, it's still the 5v4. They're re-engaged. A 4-person rout! And they've got one, but Jensen falls. Another kill in for Afreeca. They're firing back. A hook on Ornn. Stinky forced to run. Sniped. Down by Kramer. Afreeca win the fight.
With everything looking against them, Afreeca Freecs stand tall. They fight off Cloud9, and now they can push back.
That was the team fight they were looking for, where they could actually disengage and turn with Kramer. He goes down out of his Guardian Angel, but the mid lane turret goes down, and maybe Afreeca Freecs have some life left in this best of 5.
9 kills on a Varus. The Guardian Angel was popped, and they have map control. This Mountain Drake is free. Some time to farm as well. C9 have to lick their wounds, reset, and try again during that cooldown, but the lead shrinks to 1,500.
Not much time on that clock either, because Baron is about to arrive. 30 seconds from the beginning of this replay.
Remember what we identified. How can you leverage your damage because of the initiation here? The initiation is strong, but at the tail end of the Nocturnal, the Galio comes in, and suddenly Kramer and King can fight front to back.
So so much AoE coming out from Keen. That Gangplank ultimate doing a good job of also zoning Sneaky out of the Cloud9 setup there, so he didn't get to put a lot of damage through, even though the setup was very big, and Afreeca Freecs come out just when they need it.
So on the reset map, a 1,400 gold difference, and Afreeca have a Mountain Drake and the ability to absolutely eviscerate that Baron with one good rotation. Licorice on the bottom lane, just pushing in, splitting. He has teleport and he has an ultimate. Afreeca, though, playing provision control around this river. They know that if they play it right, they can win the next team fight. Quicksilver Sash, done for Kramer as well. Get away from big taunts or a big stun. He's itemized, though, for utility, not just a straight-up damage output. His frontline killing is not incredible. Licorice can maybe survive him as he builds towards the Warmogs.
And he flashed aggressively, and now he has to deal with the consequences of that against Orin Lissandra Shen in the next fight. And that's not even including the Nocturne, who doesn't have a Guardian Angel to power through. So it's even more tricky for Kramer to position in the next fight.
Every flash on Cloud9 blown in that team fight. And those will also be a liability if something sparks here in the red quadrant of the jungle. Everyone walking on tiptoes right now.
Yeah. C9 given the space, though, to play for control. Licorice is the tank at the front line. They're going right now into the back line. It's low for Keen, but he's going to stay alive. Ornhorn calls, and they're going to find a knockup. Will they get any kills? That Spirit gone already. Jensen finds the back line. Looking for Tushin, he's low. Looking for Kramer, he's under 100. No kills just yet, just the one. And Tushin's walking away. Sneaky finally finds the second 5v3 for Cloud9.
They've done it! Cloud9 now have a free path to Baron. They've taken down the Afreeca Freecs jungler as well as the supports. What will the response be?
The response can be a very large barrel chain. Keep in mind, explosive damage is still here. The tools for Afreeca to stop this, like C9 did 8 minutes ago, are still there.
We've already seen one miracle around Baron. This Baron, about 8,000 health, is going down fast.
Jensen will TP back in after the home guard. This could be a 5v3 to decide the series. Keen's gonna be on top of them all, looking for the taunt in the front line. Barrels do good damage. Svenskaren's on death's door. GA is popped and Kuro buys time. No deaths yet for Afreeca. Sneaky goes forward, cannot find that kill. Baron means big damage. Svenskaren's a Q away from death. The barrel could be it as well. What a stop for Afreeca.
Again, Afreeca on the edge. 3-man defense of the Baron pit. They stop Cloud9, force them back to heal, and now they have control.
Getting at that point of the game where those barrels are orbital nukes, they back away, and now Afreeca Freecs turn on Baron. There's their TP. How will C9 respond?
They're trying to rush it down. C9 do have tools pretty soon. The flash forward, but it gets Jensen to safety. The cask is not in time, and that might force a disengage. Kramer chunk low.
What a clutch play from Jensen
Licorice
there.
has ult. Will they go for this one? They're letting Afreeca walk away so far, just playing for vision.
Spirit looking for the big play to close it out and secure that comeback, but he cannot find it onto Jensen.
Deep breaths, guys. We do not see a Baron taken there. No massive teamfight victory. We have to reassess the map state. There's good control wards around the Baron from both teams. C9 gonna go and do their chores, pick up some minion waves, farm it out, but the next Baron should decide the victor of game number 3.
And those chores could be punished. There's an extra tool in Afreeca's toolbox. They have TP on Keen. Neither C9 solo laner does. So now there is actually that chance to make split push unanswerable.
This world has certainly been a test for my heart. So many games coming down to such slim margins. So many upsets coming through. And now, Afreeca Freecs will try once more to take back vision over the Baron pit.
Sneaky a bit low. They're hatching a ward. Corey in the mid lane. The rest of the team is nearby. This could be yet another fight to determine it all. Good poke out of Keen. Sneaky at half is dangerous. He needs the lifesteal off this, and they're going to let him.
Important note, Guardian Angel back up on the Varus. 5 minutes has elapsed since the last big fight. Does allow him to position a bit more aggressively. Summoners also returning on both sides.
And a stopwatch picked up for Kramer. He is incredibly hard to dive. C9 have been looking for backline access. They've been mostly rewarded. This one might not work well. Hook forward, not going to land here. Predator was popped, not going to find that engage either. Svenskeren waiting. Here comes Seal yet again. C9 want in. They're going to look for it, and they're going to find one towards Keen. He's running away, but he's been shut down. 5v4 yet again. Lissandra buys space. Sneaky cutting away. The fight resumes now, and it's going to be looking for Kuro. He's shut down as well. 5v3 and Afreeca's bottom side have to run away.
They can move as 5.
Yeah, 5 members of Cloud9, the pride of North America, will rise to meet their destiny inside Afreeca's base.
And they're gonna go for the first turret. They're gonna try to be the first team ever in 7 years to make a semifinal from North America. The inhibitor falls, and C9 says the best way to win is to go towards Baron.
Inhibitor down, now they can retreat back to their vision control. Afreeca Freecs will have time for their solo laners to get back up though. It's not over yet.
C9 gonna go for the full reset instead. They're gonna recall everybody, buy items, get their health bars back to full. We will have another team fight to determine who might win this game.
I don't know if you two are going to survive this one, but I can understand why we're seeing fights like this to go one way than the other. The seesaw is continual. This time, notice that one of the tanks and one of the threats are separated from the other 3. Afreeca kite upwards, and that means that Kuro and Keen leverage their health bar for North.
Great shot calling from Cloud9. Jensen, as you mentioned on the Lissandra, #1 duty zoning this team fight. Sections off Keen from the rest of the squad. Licorice and Svenskeren collapse immediately on to that late game carry and remove the threat.
And we were wondering about the full reset. Consider the items that were complete. The biggest one, the Infinity Edge onto Lucian. We've talked about how it feels like Kramer has another tool again and again to repel the engage. He hasn't bought a damage item since he finished the Guardian Angel about 8 minutes ago. He bought a QSS. He also now has a stopwatch, but his damage profile is mixed at best, whereas Sneaky is all in on tank busting.
Infinity is definitely good for that, but these busts may be harder as now Keen has Guardian Angel as well. It's been C9 going for assassinations, and they might be running out of targets. We're still in a very close one only. 4,500 gold separates the teams. That is pocket change based on performance in the actual fight itself.
Guardian Angels active on Kramer and Keen. This provides a tremendous amount of an advantage for the next team fight. Svenskeren is still on cooldown here for Cloud9. They do not want the heart. Oh, they're going for it!
Oh, what a hook by Tushin! They're gonna find the way in though. The Oran's gonna come across, and the knockups are there. Is this the fight? It's 2 for 0, and the Guardian Angels are popped. This could well be it. Look at them clean up the map, and the last vestige of Korea has been destroyed. Cloud9 will make it to the semifinals. A 3-0 sweep. The first time in 7 years. Cloud9 in the top 4 at Worlds.
North America has dared to dream for many, many years. 2011, 7 years since they pushed forward. Cloud9 so often tasked with making it to this moment and moving forward and coming up short again and again. This was the big moment for them, and I can see it worn on everyone's faces that Cloud9 deserve this victory, and also the manner in which they get it. A 3-0 over Afreeca Freecs. The true example, the epitome of the reality. The meme is dead. The gap is closed. Korea's not at the front. In fact, they are behind the EULCS, the NALCS, and the LPL as they are fully eliminated from Worlds 2018.
Papa Smithy, even with the way that Worlds has gone this year, as a North American fan, you see it happening to everyone else.
Yeah.
Europe gets their upset. The LPL gets their upset. And finally, North America gets their upset.
And we'll see more of them next week. Fnatic and Edward Gaming battle for the right to see who will challenge Cloud9 for a spot in the finals.
People always come to me and talked about my Korean bias, Korean caster, but honestly, the truth of it all, as you guys know, is I was always biased towards the best League of Legends, and that was so often played by the Korean teams. They innovated the meta for so many years. But this year, as recently as summer, I kept feeling like we were behind, that we were too slow, that the teams around the world could exploit. And this tournament is the vindication of that belief. Korea played Korea's game, the world innovated a new world game, and now we can see the results of that. You reap what you sow, and that means that the LCS regions and the LPL are just too damn good.
Incredible performance, Cloud9, probably the most aggressive North American team, and they have made it the farthest at Worlds. Beautiful performance there, and for a breakdown on this historic moment, let's hand it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Freak.
Yes!
They've done it. We got it.
Where are your party poppers? You got them for this moment.
Where's Mark Z when you need him for an NA victory, man?
Dash.
Cloud9 3-0 to the semi-finals.
Yeah, and you know, that game was close. But when people look back at this series, they will see a 3-0, and they'll see all the historic things that happened. It's been happening throughout this World Championship. We just weren't ready to finally say it. But
true.
Korea didn't even make the semifinals.
They're out.
For so long, Korea, and then the gap, and then everyone else. And now we've had an EU team, a Chinese team, and a North American team qualify for the semifinals, and every Korean team is out.
And none of them, so go ahead.
They went through the Korean teams. That's the big thing. This wasn't the LCK cannibalizing itself. There is merit that all 3 regions went through at least one Korean team to get their spot.
And for so long, I feel like you, at least as an NA fan, you weren't allowed to get excited because eventually they would meet their maker in a best-of-5 against Korean and they would be proven to be inferior.
Get excited, Jat.
That's not true.
Yeah, we can get excited. Now,
You're allowed to get excited.
Even in that 3rd game, we were still like, don't, no one get out of their chairs just yet. Wait till the Nexus explodes and then it happens. And what I think is most fascinating to me is the fact that this isn't an inexperienced roster. You've got Licorice in the top lane in his rookie season. You got Zeyzal in his rookie season in the bot lane. Yes, you have veterans across the board. Sneaky, one of the most veteran players to hit a world stage in terms of the number of games he's played at that level. But every single one of them stepped up across the board in some way or another to put this 3-0 together.
It's about this idea of default to trust. At one point, North America had to just lean back, accept the trust fall, accept that Jensen is finally going to show up in a clutch moment, accept that North America actually has good rookie talent. You don't just need to buy everything, import it in, and face your superstars. Your superstars dropped out in groups, and Cloud9 took you all the way with 2 rookies.
And North America have done it. They have that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. They managed to make their first semifinal, like, in the last 7 years, I believe Freak was
since
saying.
the format happened, technically, there was a semifinalist in 2011 for North America.
And the thing about this, right, is for so long, you know, it's been said about regions like Europe, like, oh, the rookies come in, why don't North America do this? Why don't they import more talent? And the argument has always been there is no talent in North America. It can't compete with the rest of the world. And with this team, they had 3 rookies that got them from 10th place to the final of the NALCS. They fought their way through the play-ins, play-ins that they almost lost. They got out of the group of death, and then they take down Afreeca Freecs, the remaining LCK team, in a 3-0.
And they've done it in a way that I believe will silence a lot of critics. Even while watching C9 succeed, people are still throwing out the memes. Sneaky in lane. Well, guess what? This series itself became ridiculously bot lane focused for the way that we were teasing it to begin with. Afreeca going back to that bot lane repeatedly to try and punish Sneaky and Zeyzal in lane.
I've never seen a camp like this.
Yeah.
This was a straight vacation.
35% jungle proximity for Spirit. So that means he spent 35% of his time from 3 to 15 minutes within 1,500 units of his bot lane. As a comparison, Uzi yesterday got a 12% jungle proximity across the series. 3 times more camp in this game.
I mean, it forced Sven to have to respond to find a couple trades like this.
And the thing about it is, Sneaky was even running cleanse in this matchup, which made it so much harder for him as well.
Yeah.
They couldn't come out ahead in those 2 versus 2s. There were opportunities for Kramer to get these outplays, and admittedly, Kramer had a fantastic game. He was the reason why Afreeca was still punching out extremely hard in these later game fights.
So close to a triple here. So close to a triple.
But it was, at the end of the day, Sneaky having the best series that he's had at Worlds. And the guy, after receiving so much criticism, after just straight up losing lane against Uzi, after being one of the weakest points in the group stages, completely turned it around and has brought Cloud9 to their first semifinal.
As you said, though, Jet, this was the closest of the 3 games in this series, and there were quite a few moments where we're holding our breath, in particular, the Baron, where Licorice comes up big with a steal. 2v5. Ornn and Lissandra against the world.
Bless Licorice right here. First off, this is coming off a disastrous dragon fight where they stole Infernal Drake. Here, watch Kramer attacking Licorice, but not attacking the Baron. and then the hammer of Ornn gets the last hit. They nearly pick up the ace afterwards, but the Baron will be an acceptable consolation prize, as well as the 3-0 for the series.
What a way to win a game. What a way to win a game.
Sorry, yeah, I'm still, you know, in my own space a little bit. Let's roll through the rest of the fights, because that was not the end of the game. There were at least 5 more team fights.
And what was funny about it was all 4 of us were sitting in front of one of the screens just yelling, "You need to get Kramer! Get Kramer! Get him!" And then they couldn't quite find that final kill. They're like, "Oh, they got his GA, but he's still alive, he's still alive." And this was one of the fights where they split the team apart and they didn't even try to fight Kramer, but then this final one is where C9 found it all.
And I just love the idea that when they had the windows to play around the stopwatch, the GAs, that's when Cloud9 understood what target selection to have. You know, when Varus' GA was down, they went for Varus. When Varus' GA was up, they went for the Gangplank. Suddenly, this fight, you have both GA on GP and Varus, and yet they still get it done because of crisp, clean Ornn ults from Licorice. His ults were incredible for all of those team fights.
And mad props to Jensen as well. The way he utilized this Lissandra in fights was fantastic. Multi-man roots with the W, his ultimate being used at just the right time. He's had a fantastic series. His Ari game was meh, but he had a fantastic series. But overall,
I know what you're talking about, Veddy. That Ari pick is going to go down in history.
Very impressed.
Greatest game 2 in the history of Worlds was the Ari pick in the mid lane. MasterCard player of the game going to Licorice for the Ornn play. Hard to ignore the Baron steal, as well as Frost mentioned, the insane engages time and time again.
Top 4 top laner meet Licorice, North American rookie, and Ornn God this series. And it's just the versatility. He plays the carries, he plays the tanks, he plays the team fights, he plays the lane.
He just did everything. I gotta just credit all of C9, the whole organization, the risks they took throughout the year. They're not done. Right? We didn't talk about Zeyzal that much. He's the shot caller for this team as well. Such a big contributor to how calm they can stay in these games. I'm really excited to see what the future has in store for Cloud9.
The growth of this team has just been something to admire and to stare at in awe. To hear from North America's victorious 3rd seed, Shox is standing by with an interview with C9's jungler.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm here with Sven, Scare, and Sven. You guys did it, and you didn't just do it. You 3-0'd Afreeca, and you're in your first semifinal ever. What does it mean?
It means a lot to me because I was stuck in groups for 4 years straight, and I just never were able to get through that phase, really, where you have to... The groups were so hard for me. I don't know why. I just weren't able to play my own playstyle on the world stage, but this time we as a team are just able to play super well together, and we're all on the same page. Nobody's tilting if they start losing in the side. Like, you saw Licorice this games, like, even though they were playing to top side and we were playing to bot side, he was able to stay in the game, and I'm really proud of him for that, so yeah.
Well, I do want to talk a bit about your personal performance, because you absolutely carried the first 2 games and did fantastic in the 3rd one, and you've gone through a lot. You know, you were in SK, you were in TSM, you already talked about the team, but what is it in them that enables you to be such a good player at this World Championship?
I think we just were able to get on the same page. I think week 1 of groups, we were a super bad team, but we just realized, okay, why did we go here if we're just going to play to not lose? So we just, okay, everybody like, okay, we're going to keep fighting. We actually don't want to go home. So yeah, I think our playstyle is just super good because we just keep fighting and we contest everything. If something's up on the map, we're not going to give it over. And I think a lot of the Asian teams, they're not used to that. Like the Korean teams, they usually just sit back and like wait for late game, but we just really want to fight and just win the games early. So yeah, I think I'm just able to shine because my team just has my back and they just want to fight with me early game.
Lovely. It looks to be working out. I do think you need some help in drinking water, the sippy cup. What's going on? 2 games now. Come on, tell us.
I blame the cup thingy. It's like closed, so I have to like open it. And I mean, I don't know. I blame the cup. I think I'm pretty good at drinking, so it's not my problem.
All right. On a more serious note, though, this is huge. You seem pretty calm because it seems like you guys just are completely on the same page, as you say. Now, when you look further and you look at the teams that are remaining in the World Championship, and especially RNG and KT are out, it's anyone's game. How do you feel compared to all the other teams that are left, and what can NA dream of?
I mean, I think Fnatic looks super strong. We're going to see in the next series, but I think definitely anyone can win Worlds this time around. It's super exciting, and I think for next year it's going to be so hyped for the West because every time in the past, all the Western teams were just like, well, it doesn't matter what we do, Korea's going to win, so we might as well not try hard. But seeing the West go so far in Worlds, I think it's going to motivate the whole West to just do a lot better for next Worlds. So even though we don't win the next one, then I'm just excited to be here and like make the West have more hope.
Hey, you still have that best of 5 and you can do it. Can you say it? Can Cloud9 win Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody can win, so we're definitely up there too. So if we are on a good day, I think we can definitely beat the rest of the teams that was, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Fantastic performance on the day. Svenska and Cloud9 bring NA to the semifinals for the first time in 7 years. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it is Fnatic versus EDG. Don't miss it.
Remember, everyone keep high energy.
Woo! Spirit may have just killed himself sitting by the wall. He's close to getting Sven low, but the solo kill may come through. Will they hand the buffs off? What a spell shield, but is it going to buy enough? As Licorice has to get away from the turret. He's close to dying. He's got to watch out for this one. A barrel drain!
He's ignited. GP's dead. Hold him. Careful.
The Baron as the smite. Oh, he gets to kill the juggler. Who's going to get it? You've got to be kidding me! Licorice solo carrying this game. They re-engage a 4-person route, and they've got one, but Jensen falls. Another kill in for Afreeca. They're firing back. A hook on Ornn. Stinky forced to run. Snipe down by Kramer. Afreeca win the fight. Oh, what a hook by Tushin. They're going to find the way in, though. The Ornn's going to come across, and the knockups are there. Is this the fight? It's 2 for 0, and the Guardian Angels are popped. This could well be it. Look at them clean up the map, and the last vestige of Korea has been destroyed. Cloud9 will make it to the semifinals.